How do you define the word success? Welcome to the Relive the Moments podcast. I'm John Lim. Today's guest is more than a serial entrepreneur. He's a visionary with over 26 years of turning bold ideas into multi-million-dollar businesses. Dan Sachkowsky first honed his discipline as a competitive bodybuilder, channeling the same drive into entrepreneurship, where he's built and sold multiple successful ventures while earning national recognition. Dan's insights and leadership have been featured on NBC's The Apprentice and in Success Magazine. And today he's one of the most trusted voices on business growth and leadership. His mission is clear: to help entrepreneurs replace chaos with discipline, scale their companies through proven systems, and build organizations and truly endure. Please welcome to the show, Dan Sachkowsky, a.k.a. Big D.
What's up, man?
How we doing, man?
Living the dream.
Yeah? So, okay, what is the dream?
Well, the dream is to be able to wake up every day and be able to do what you want to do and have time freedom, right? Everyone talks about living in abundance and being able to be abundant and having an abundant style of life, but most people just chase something that's fake or something that is an illusion, and they don't really ever put anything into substance. So over the years, I've realized that, working 80 hours a week when I first started, that was no dream, because you're working for what reason? We all say, hey, we're working for our families, we're doing this, we're doing that. But if you're working 80 hours a week and you come home tired and you don't want to do anything, are you really working for your family? Right. So you really got to put your foot down and say, okay, it's time to hit the brakes. What do I really want to do? What is that dream for me? How do I want to wake up every day? We can't control two dates in our life, but we can control that hash in the middle. So we have to be able to calibrate our life based on the things that we want to see, not the things that want us to see. We can't just force life. We have to create life.
Right. So let's take a couple of steps back, because you said a lot of interesting things there. One, I love the dash. I did a speech back in the day about the dash. So what you just said is that, listen, on your tombstone, essentially, there's the day that you were born, there's the day that you're dead. Mm-hmm. Can't control those dates.
Nope.
Yet that dash in the middle, that very small I think it's 1.5 inch dash on every tombstone, has to explain your entire life, which is crazy to think about, that dash represents my life. So living your dash and doing it the right way, you're saying for you is about discipline, not about the dream.
Correct. Because I think if you discipline yourself enough to be in a space where you're happy, life is falling together the way it should be, then the dream starts to appear. The dream can't be something that's just like a fictional thing that doesn't really play a part in your life. So I always talk about people like, if we were children for our entire life, we'd be the most successful things in the world. Because children don't wait for nothing. Children go ain't to faint. They wake up in the morning, right? They want to play. They want to be outside. They want to do what they got to do, and they never want to wind down. Now, when you become an adult, it's like, oh, I got to do this again. I got to get up. I got to do that. Why do I have to work on the weekends? Why do I have to work late? I'm sitting in this traffic. Now our attitude starts shifting, our altitude, and now we just start dropping down in life. So I treat my life like as if I'm a kid. I'm a child. I have a childlike mentality. I'm going to get what I want when I want it. I'm not going to wait. Some days not a day of the week, because some day may never come. So how do we go after everything that we can now versus waiting for it to come to us, because it never will?
Right. So let's take a step back. How do you define success?
Well, I defined success in what it really means to you. A lot of people define success in money, in cars, in houses. That stuff's all material. When you die, U-Haul's not going to follow you. Your house isn't going to follow you. Your cars aren't going to follow you. Success is by the things that you leave behind that people will always remember you by. People aren't going to remember how nice your bedroom looked, how good the steak was that you cooked, the nice car that you drove. They're going to remember the things that you've done for them and how you've impacted them. Not only that, how is your family able to move on? So I have 3 kids. How are my kids able to move on based on the disciplines, the structure, the things I put in their life for them to continue to build the legacy that I once started? I had to change the generational curses that I came from, where it's like traditional, go to work, slave yourself, not have enough money. I was talking to my mom about this yesterday. My my boys went out to dinner with my dad, and my dad's like, "Oh, Dan always talks on his podcast about how we didn't have money when he was a kid. We were fine." And then I was like, "Mom, like Dad's like so out of it. Like at the end of the day, he's saying we were fine, where we just kind of." She's like, "We lived paycheck to paycheck. Like we didn't starve, but we by no means had money to go on vacation, had money to do anything, and we literally stretch ourselves so thin in life." And I go, "That's what I talk about. How do we get to a place where we don't have to live that way?" Because at the end of the day, like we were limited to the things in life and to the focuses in life. And what do I remember about my parents? Working as much as they can to pay for what they can so that we can have what we had. But it was never about this big life. It was never about vacation. It wasn't about family time. It wasn't about anything because we couldn't afford it. So how do I get myself in a space where I can afford to do things for the reason why I'm here? And it's long taught after I'm gone and my kids are doing the same things.
So is success freedom or legacy?
It's legacy and living in abundance. And abundance has to be built, not bought. Like you can't buy abundance. You have to build abundance. You have to understand what it is. You have to understand the principles of life, understand the things and the values that you bring to life. So many people, again, think, if I just had more money is more problems. More money is more debt. Money doesn't solve anything. Money is a tool and it helps us do things. But it's not a solvent. It's not going to solve
money's fuel.
anything.
Like money's fuel. It's meant to. I always tell people like, look, if you look at money as fuel, where do you want to go? If you want to go to California, okay, great. You need a certain amount of fuel to get there. Plane car doesn't make a difference. Certain amount of fuel to get there. So that's your money. You want to your point, have freedom, right? To raise 3 kids in a nice school. Great. How much fuel do you need to do that there? I think most Americans and most people in general, they don't look at money in the way that it's supposed to. Like it's a tool, like you said, that gives you the freedom to do the things that you want.
Yeah.
So I can live in abundance, or I can have these things where people look at money where it's like I'm just chasing it. I'm just chasing money, and no one stops them to say, "Hey, what are you chasing? What's the money for? If I gave you $1 million, what does it look like?" Right? Or I love this one that says, "Hey, I want to be a millionaire." Great. Let me tell you what you got to do to be a millionaire. And then when after I say what you have to do, the amount of hours you got to work or what you got to invent or what you got to put together or sacrifice the vacations, or all the things that we had to do, people are like, all right, you know what? I don't want to be a millionaire, but I like to be something else.
Comfortable.
Right. And it's relative.
Yeah.
Like I grew up on food stamps at one point. For me to say that I'm super poor would be an insult to those who were super poor who lived every day trying to find a roof. Okay, great. So we all have our humble beginnings. But the idea is like, hey, how do I, one, it's relative to how you grew up and where you are. And then how do I change it, to your point, in that scenario? So if you had to give advice right now, well, I want to go back to the dream. I want to go back to the dream because everybody has a dream. A lot of people have the wrong dream. So there's a saying that I have called castles in the sky. If you can't see it, you can't build it. All right, so take a day, take a month, take a year, figure it out. Think of what that looks like, that castle in the sky. And then when you're ready to take that dream and know why you're dreaming and you want to bring it down, then let's have a conversation. But for you, when you start out by saying, I'm living the dream, how would you suggest people go from that castles in the sky to now on the ground?
So, number one, you got to believe that you deserve it. Number two, you got to believe that you can achieve it. And number three, you got to see yourself in it. So whatever it is you want in life, so whatever that castle is, whatever that dream is, whatever that vision is, you have to believe it's an achievable thing for you. It can't just be a dream. Because if it's just a dream, it's just something that you're going to think about once in a while. You're going to get disappointed on because you're not achieving it. It has to be something that comes together with some goals. What's it going to take for me to get there? When I do get there, how will it feel? Once I am there, what am I going to continue to do? And all this stuff needs to play a part. So everything I've done in my life for the last 26 years in business, I've envisioned myself there. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to get there. Did I get there that exact way? No. But I knew I was getting there because I believed I should be there and I know that's where I wanted to go. And I put it all together. I put the game plan and the goal together with the dream. And a dream without a goal, and without a deadline is just an empty wish to yourself. It's something that you're never going to achieve. So you got to put a lot of things together. You got to take whatever it is that you're trying to do, and you got to insert yourself being there, insert your roadmap, insert your tools, insert your discipline, and then just start working your way there. So many people that you were saying say like, I want to be a millionaire, right? It's just like, okay, well, you haven't been 100,000-aire yet.
Right.
You haven't been a $500,000-aire yet.
Yeah.
If you want to be a millionaire, how are you going to make 100,000 this year? How are you going to make $500,000 in 2 years? But everyone looks at this big jump. This is why people play the lottery.
Yep.
Because they want to get lucky. It doesn't matter. You'll make $14 million winning the lottery. That's fine, but you'll lose it in the next 14 months because you don't have discipline. Your body, your life, your language, your understanding of $14 million isn't there. And until you train yourself in life to understand how to be disciplined with the money you're making now, you're never going to be disciplined with the money that you want to make in the future. So it all plays hand in hand.
All right, but let's be clear. Like, discipline is probably the hardest word in the dictionary, especially when you're in it,
Yep.
right? Because you get disciplined in certain things. I'm disciplined in how I work out. Great, but not disciplined in my business. I'm disciplined in watching documentaries or YouTube channels, but not reading. Like, when you want to take someone from in the middle of it all, right? Because you work with a lot of different businesses when they're in the middle, not the startup side. So you're in the middle of the business. You're trying to make a living. You think you're doing it right. You're busting your ass. You have your dream. You don't have your dream. How does someone stop in the middle of that chaos and then start to finally put that system together? Because having a system is great when you're starting, but when you're in the middle of chaos, right? Like you're in the middle of the storm, how do you automatically, because you have to be in the storm, you can't stop that. There's no 7-day, like, hey, I'm going to shut my business down for 7 days and just work on this. How do you get people to actually stop for a second to kind of get to that system?
So a good example is a kid I've been working with the last month and a half. He literally put a testimonial video up on Instagram this morning. He told me all his problems. To me, they weren't problems. To him, they were problems because they were obstacles. Mm-hmm. I said, how do I take these obstacles and create opportunities? The kid was smoking weed every day for 17 years, slowing him down. The kid he was disciplined in the gym, but he wasn't disciplined in his diet. He was disciplined in, political stuff, but he wasn't disciplined in his business. Okay, so how do I take all these things that you're wasting your time on that aren't bringing you to a place, and this is going to be a story I want to tell you about. I talked to my son on the way up here. All these things that are not giving you an ROI on whatever it is that you're trying to do. How do we remove and implement the things that are going to help you grow? A lot of people don't realize how much time they waste doing things. So first thing I'd say is, let's pick up your phone. Let's look at your screen time. That's the first thing I tell everyone I coach. Let's look at your screen time. Okay, well, you've been on you stay an average on your phone 8 hours a day. If I was on my phone 8 hours a day, what would I be doing in that 8 hours? Podcasts, listening to stuff, ebooks, whatever it is. What are you doing? TikTok, Facebook, all this stuff. You're wasting time scrolling to fill the void.
Right.
Now imagine in that 8 hours, you took 6. I'm not going to take it all away from you. I'm going to give you 2.
Sure.
You took 6. And now that 6, you implemented some of that time and some of the stuff that you needed to do, not the stuff that made you feel good. So I say in life, we have, like, if you look at your refrigerator, it has a split door, you have 2 doors. On the one side of your door, you have your to-do list. On the other side of your door, you have your not to-do list. Your not to-do list is like, I'll go out with my friends, go hang out on social media, go to the bar, get a drink, go to the park and, play with this dog because this girl's there and I want to talk to her. And then on your to-do list, it's like all this stuff that you have to do. Every single day, that to-do list grows and that not to-do list doesn't grow because you knock off the not to-do because it's fun. It's exciting. Right. It's easy. But now all the work just gets stacked up. And then when you finally go, oh my God, look, you're overwhelmed at how many things you have to do to actually get to the place you want to be. Now you have to take 8 hours to figure out where you're going to start.
Yeah.
Right? So I was talking about eating the elephant first in the morning. What's the biggest task that you can do today? What's the hardest thing you have to do today? Do it now. Do it in the beginning of the day, and it makes the rest of the day easier. All those other stuff and things will come. But if you keep making your list of the things that are going to be, bringing better places in your life, bringing better people in your life, bringing more value in your life, and you keep not touching them and you're executing all the things that are making you feel good in the moment, you're only going to feel good in the moment. You're not going to feel good forever. So I try to take their time into a place where now we have to discipline your time. So this kid in 48 days has read 4 books cover to cover. Hasn't smoked weed since. Been disciplined on his diet. His business is 3 times busier in 48 days, than it was 48 days ago.
That's insane.
I don't want to hear it. And if you listen to what his testimony is, Dan tells me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear.
Right.
And if you're crying or you're upset at me, that's good. Because you should be upset at yourself because you allowed that stuff to happen. Now it's time to change it. And that's all you have to do. You have to create disciplines.
Now, like any real disciplined person, though, they're doing it for a goal in mind. So when you sit down with clients, do you actually start out with, hey, what's your dream or what's your goal and why? Because I love the quote by Mike Tyson. He said, discipline is doing the things you hate like you love them, basically. Now, for a boxer, all right, listen, I got to be this disciplined and give up all this stuff because I have a heavyweight fight, because I'm going to be on TV and I'm going to make all this money. Like, done. There's a short-term goal in mind. When you work with entrepreneurs, I mean, unless they're building their business to sell, and how old is that kid?
Which most people aren't.
Right, they're not. They're not building their business to sell. They're building their business to be in a business.
Yeah. He's 36.
All right, so he's 36 years old. So he's not building this limo company to sell it right away. He's building a lifestyle business that he can have and have all this stuff. So do you sit down first and go over the end or the goal? So this way you can develop that plan of discipline?
You know what we actually did with him? Like the first couple weeks, we didn't even focus on the business. I go, your life's so fucked up, bro. We have to fix you first. We have to fix you first. And until we fix you, we can't fix anything else. Because he had so many limiting beliefs because of all the stuff that he carried, all the trauma in his life. We're pulling out all this trauma. He's calling me, call me, bring it out. Because by you holding it in, it's not going to do anything. So with business owners that I coach, my biggest question is, what's the problem? Why are you stuck? Why do you feel you're stuck? Where's it that you think you should be? Then I look at all the things that they're doing, and I start with them first. What have you done for yourself? How have you changed? If you're making $1 million a year, how have you put yourself in a position to deserve $5 million a year? What have you learned? What have you implemented? How have you changed the way you do business? I haven't. Well, how do you expect to make $5 million a year? So I start with them because you are your core problem.
Right.
If you're not growing, and we talked about it off camera, like there's 2 things you should be investing in. Your business for it to grow and yourself to grow with it. You cannot grow to a place that you want your business to be unless you start climbing with your business. And that's going to take 2 different types of work. So that's the biggest thing is everyone wants everything, but they're doing nothing to get it. So I have to figure all that out.
Which makes total sense. I have this theory called triangle of self. So when you manage employees or manage people, business and personal was never a term that I loved. Like you're one person. Mm-hmm. The triangle of self is like, hey, you have distractions for yourself. That's like you said, the growth of reading, working out, and so forth. You have family, whatever that family is. That's a part of you. And you have work, whatever that work is, right? Owning your business, doing volunteer work, being a mom, being a dad, whatever that is in your job, that triangle can never be perfect. The goal is to make it as isosceles triangle as you can, isosceles triangle as possible, where 2 sides are solid. Yeah. You're solid in your eating, your workout. You feel amazing, okay? Because the drug that's coming down out of your brain for that dopamine and serotonin is not delivered to you by some social media. It's delivered to you by you, right? And then on the other side, your work is rocking. And then family tries to fit in the middle or vice versa. So I love the fact that you're like, all right, let's start with you first, right? Because if you ask me that question right now, like, hey, John, what's slowing you down? I'd say I'm distracted, right? And that's too broad of a word to use. Okay, what are you distracted on? Well, I have all these things. Great, so does everybody else. Now let's start to needle it down in that scenario.
We looked at your board, right?
Right.
And I'm like, dude, this is confusing to me. If this isn't color-coded and this isn't prioritized, this wouldn't work for me. Right. But you just started doing that. Mm-hmm. So now you'll implement the change. And that's the whole thing is like you have to break everything down to, number one, what can you eliminate? And that's the biggest thing in business for most people is they're doing so many things, but so many things aren't cost effective. What are you doing that is costing you money, costing you time, that's not transferring into growth of your business? And now that's where this whole world of, VAs comes in, AI comes in, all these different things, because it's not about people hiring people. It's about people hiring leaders and being able to implement 3 or 4 people in your business that are getting paid for 6, doing the work of 10.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I don't care if she's been with you for 10 years. She's not producing. She's got to go. I don't care if he's your brother. He's got to go. Because you're not going to change someone who's adapted their ways. It's a lot easier to train someone brand new to be an assassin than someone who's lazy to go out there and even kill for food.
Well, I think right now, listen, you've been doing it 26 years. I got just about the same. I'm 47 years old. I've been doing this since I was 19. For the first time ever as an entrepreneur, business owner, small, local, large, whatever, for the first time ever, we have an opportunity with AI to, like you said, do the work of 10 for the price of 1. It used to be virtual assistants, right? Where you hire a virtual assistant outside the Philippines or some other country to do some stuff for you, time zones, work through it. That's a lot. But now AI has eliminated all the excuses. Like we could build you your own virtual assistant through AI that's learning every day with you. You just got to talk to them every day, right? Get on the phone, talk to it every day on your ride into work. Hey, here's what I'm going through, and put it that way. So I love the idea that we've eliminated all excuses. Because now, whether it's my kids or myself or any business owner that I talk to, all right, we all have 1,440 minutes in a day. Consistent, okay? I love the screen time thing that you talked about. 1,440 minutes in a day. Do not tell me you don't have time. Tell me that you don't like doing it and you're wasting time avoiding it, fine. But the one thing that I can never accept is, hey, I don't have time to do it. No, that's a valid excuse. It's just an excuse. So find the time and let's put it together and let's break down those 1,440 minutes. I think about it right now, like my last week. I don't know if I give you my phone to see my screen time. I might be embarrassed about my screen time for the last week when I think about it. But that's a great way to hit people right away. Like, let me see your screen time. I'll get you 2 hours back to your day in something that'll change your life, no matter what, because most likely you're on your phone too much.
And I always explain, how do people who are multimillionaires, if we're talking business, how are people who are multimillionaires able to be everywhere all the time? They leverage.
Yeah.
They're not doing everything. So by you telling me you're busy, you may be busy, but it's not about being busy. It's the value. What's the value you're bringing to the hour? And me as a business owner, I know that I can take 8 people who want to work for me, and I can take a 4-hour day, and I'll do more in 4 hours than they could do in 12 because I'm super focused. I'm not there for a check. I know what I have to get done, and I have to move on to the next thing.
Yep.
I don't have 8 hours to complete something that can carry on into tomorrow. So it's all about the way you think about it. And this is why ultra successful people have teams behind them, can be places all the time, can be on the golf course, can be here, can be there. You know, people are like, how are you at jiu-jitsu at 12 o'clock in the afternoon? Like, how are you working out at 10 o'clock in the morning? I go, because I built this life. This is what I built, and I built it on purpose. And I've been able to put my businesses on the outside of what I needed on the inside. But most people never get to that point.
Sure. It's not even most. It's the majority of people who open a business never get to that point. They never get to a point of having success, period. Yeah. More or less, like getting to the point that you're talking about, of like the 4-hour work week, if you will, right? Like, how do I, listen, I'm working to live, right? I'm not living to work in that scenario.
Right.
And I think in America, especially growing up, we're seduced by the working, right? We make it cool to work. Now, right, growing up, I had 2 jobs. My dad had 3. He always had 2 jobs to make some more money to get by. Fine. They made it cool. Hey, man, what's your side hustle? Side hustle. Like, no, Mark Cuban doesn't have a side hustle.
Right.
Okay? The successful people you're talking about, they don't have side hustles. They have hobbies, right? They might be learning some stuff, but no, they're focused. They're focusing on one thing and find that why.
I just saw a podcast or something about side hustle, and I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, why are you making it okay for people to like have a plan B? You know, like
Burn the boats.
You're in.
Burn the boats.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? So you're either in or you're out. Side hustles are hobbies. I tell people this all the time. They cost you money. If you go to affairs, you go to this, you go to that, they cost you money. You're only making enough money to afford to be able to do it, but not to be able to afford to exit what your full-time gig is.
Yeah.
So it's never going to work out in your favor. And the same thing, like people say they don't have enough money, they don't have this, they don't have that. Again, it's discipline, right? So discipline in business, discipline in money, discipline in life, and all the things. I don't have time to work out. You have time to watch fucking TikTok for 3 hours. You don't have time to work out. You know, you have time to sit behind the TV and watch episode of whatever from whatever series you're watching. You know, I don't even watch TV. I mean, people go, "You don't watch TV?" I go, "I don't need to watch TV." Like, what do you need to watch TV for? I don't even know what's going on in the world. You know what I mean? Like, very little. I know Charlie Kirk died. It was all over my feed. You know, but otherwise, I don't know what's going on in politics. I stopped with Fox 5. I stopped with politics. I stopped with Newsmax. You want to know why? It was consuming, bro. It was taking me, and like I would be playing it in the background while like I'm trying to work, and it's distracting me, and I'm like, I cannot get anything done here. I have to X this out. And people are so consumed with things, number one, that you don't have control over. Number two, things that you'll never have a say on.
Yep.
And number three, things are just going to slow you down, because the biggest lie we could tell ourselves is that we're a multitasker.
It's impossible.
There's no such thing.
No, there's not.
But every broke people will tell you I'm a great multitasker.
Yeah.
Sure you are.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Multitasking is the biggest myth ever, because there's no such thing as multitasking.
Yeah.
All right, I want to take a step back. So the podcast purpose is about reliving moments so people can take something from different stories to help them get to where they got to go to. So where you are now is not where you started. When you were a young kid, let's relive a moment that helped shape where you are now. So when you were young, who was an influential moment, or a person or an influential moment that happened that you remember that you would credit to shaping you to where you are today?
Two things. One, my dad drove past Bon Jovi's house. I tell this story all the time. I was like 15 or 14, and I didn't know houses could be that big because we live in an apartment. And he said to me, and he'll probably deny it, but he said to me, "Those are rich people. We'll never be rich." I'm like, I need to fucking figure out how to be rich, you know, because I don't want. My dad had an Astro van back then, a Ford Astro van. I tell people it was 3 colors of brown: light brown, dark brown, and rust. There was more rust on it than paint, right? And we had to go in the passenger door because the back door wouldn't open. But at the end of the day, I knew that there was a limiting belief there. I don't know where it came from, where it didn't, but I knew that if I listened to that in that moment, that would be it. Then I got introduced to Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and I met my mentor. I was 16 years old. He was my first and only boss I ever had in construction. And he showed me something. He was probably, I don't know, 10 years younger than my dad.
What's his name?
Dave. I wrote about him in my first book. 10 years younger than my dad. He had 3 kids, big house, shore house, great business, great family. And I would go to his house on the weekends and literally like say, "Hey, can I pick your weeds? Can I sweep your garage? Can I just hang out with you?" You know, his kids were little, you know, and I was like 16, and I was like his little like side man, you know what I mean? He'd bring me Saturday morning. He lived in East Brunswick, New Jersey at the time. I would drive there. I would get dropped off there, whatever. And we'd go to the coffee shop. We walk in. Everyone knows Dave, you know what I mean? He was like the mayor, you know? So I was like, oh, man, I'm like with the mayor here, you know? But he was someone who showed me like, there's another way to live. You can have nice things. You could work hard. You can do all this stuff. And at the same time, you can have this kind of life that you really paint a picture for and you actually live it. And when he told me he believed in me, I've never heard that in my life. And that was it. That was the pivotal moment for me.
It's there's so many people that can't get back there. Like there's so many people that I talk to who have limiting beliefs. All right, because listen, we all have our trauma from being a child. Our parents did the best they could. I told someone the other day, like I'm part of the generation that was the last generation to get hit as a kid for discipline, right? And the first generation to not be allowed to hit your kids, right? So like in the park, I'm getting chased with wooden spoons and the rest in the neighborhood, and no one looked at a thing. If I were to go after my kids today in a park, just yell at them loud enough, all right? I'm all over social media. I got ACS or child services knocking down my door. Wait, you yelled at your kid out loud? You spanked your... So our parents and people before them have basically instilled what they knew. Our generation, again, the first one that, hey, we were instilled to, hey, how do you know discipline? All right, you didn't do this, you got beat. Mm-hmm. Now, for my kids, you didn't do this, you got a talking to. Hey, let me work this out with you, right? So, like, it all changes. And until you fix that inner child, right, if you're stuck with limiting beliefs like you just mentioned, someone has to fix that for you. And the fact that you got that so young by Dave just telling you very simple words, like, I believe in you. Mm-hmm. Like, simple words to tell young people. It doesn't cost you anything. I believe in you. That changes a person's life. So,
yeah. I had a dude hit me up on a DM this morning. Like, he's stuck in his place. Like, he's selling cars. He's working 80 hours a week. And I'm like, bro, like, you know, I offered my coaching. He's like, I can't really afford it right now. I was like, well, I will give you some words of advice. Here's what I'll do for you. Here's what you should do for the next 90 days. And I just gave it to him. He's like, dude, like that, no one ever has given me that kind of advice. So for me, it's I pay it forward now. And I do the same thing. But coming back to beating our kids, you know, my son said something to me a couple weeks ago. I said, bro, I'll punch you right in your face and knock your teeth out. He's like, what? I'm like, if I said that to my dad, he would have knocked me right in my jaw.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care how big you are, how old you are. Don't talk to me like that because I will knock your teeth out. You know, but if I said that to him when he was like 14, he'd be like, I'm calling DYFUS.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, go ahead. They're just going to bring you back.
Right.
So a lesson I was talking about before, I want to talk about my kid real quick. So I was having this conversation with my son last night. My son does powder coating for a living, owns his own company. Now they're building like these lifted trucks and doing all this stuff like these
How
show
old is he?
trucks. He's 20.
Okay.
And him and his boys are in a garage last night, and they're building this truck, and they're doing all this work to it. And there's like truck shows coming up. They're pressing for time because they have to get all these trucks done. I mean, beautiful, brand new Dodges, like lifted, like beautiful stuff. And he walks in a house. He's like, he's got a 5500 Ram that he bought that's just sitting there that he has to like do some work on to get it on the road. And he's like, I really want to get this truck on the road because I want to drive all across the country to go to these truck shows because it's something I never did. I just absorbed it. And he was like very upset about it. So I just like let it brew. I didn't say nothing to him last night. I texted him this morning. I go, I just want to share something with you. I said, your two friends that you're building trucks with are employees. They got PTO. They got, you know, they have sick days. They have all this stuff. They can call out of their job and go travel to a show because they're still getting paid. You're a business owner. I said, let me just tell you something. Whatever happened in that garage last night and the conversations you guys had needs to go in a different direction. The next 5 years, you need to have your head down and not worry about stuff if it's not going to give you an ROI. Because by you doing what they're doing, you're falling back in place. You need to move forward. And I gave him this like long, I was going to voice text it to him, but he said he doesn't listen to my voice text. So I literally like wrote this text out and it was like super long. And then like, he was like, thanks, Dad, I understand. You know, because I think we get stuck in a point in life where we become influenced by the outside.
Yeah.
You know, and as we get older, like he's 20 years old, but I said, dude, you've done more, seen more, have more than most people double your age because of what you've done in the last 3 years. But now's the time to put your head down. What do you need to drive to Tennessee to a truck show for, to bring a truck that you built and not get paid money for it? What's the point? I said, hours, time wasted, money wasted for what? I said, people who have a job can do that. You're not going to do that because right now you're in a place where you need stuff that return on what you're doing and build your business to a place where you have so much business, you don't know what to do, but you're not there yet. So I like literally just like laid it out for him. I was like, he's either going to tell me to go fuck off or he's going to say, I get it. But he's like, I get it. He's like, I love you, Dad. Thanks. Like I needed that, you know? And we just have to understand, like you talked about, you know, all these different things that where people think a certain way, it's conditional thinking that we start to think like the masses. Right. But when we're children, we don't think that way.
No, we're a ball of energy bouncing around.
And we're resilient. If we want ice cream, we're getting ice cream. We're going to kick scream until you stop at the goddamn ice cream store and give me an ice cream cone. Why? Because you don't want to hear me screaming no more.
Yep.
And if we had this, and just like when we want a favorite toy, how many times did we walk in their store with our parents and they'd be like, you're not getting nothing. And then we just snatched the toy up and we're holding it around the store. And then we're now at the checkout line, whatever, it's a G.I. Joe. And then your parents like, put it back. And we're like, no. And then we start throwing a fit and they're like, All right, whatever. They buy us a G.I. Joe, right? So why aren't we like that when we get older?
Dude, I'm smiling because Claudio, I was with Claudio and his wife and my daughter at the last match for the Greenwich Polo Club. And there's like an art booth, right, with these paintings and pictures these guys did. And we're in there, we're looking at things, whatever. And I'm talking to the guy. I'm talking to the guy about giving him a free digital business card and products that I have and how to enhance some stuff. Just a regular conversation from one entrepreneur to another. And my daughter, who's 9, okay, who loves flowers, was like, she wanted to go build her own bouquet. And I'm like, no, because at the end of it, my boy gives us the flowers that are there from the show, and we take them home and whatever. I'm talking to this guy literally about a digital business card and what we're doing, and Claudio's there watching, and my daughter just right next to me. Dad, it's $10. Dad, I hear her, but I'm not even paying attention to her. And after like 3 minutes, I'm literally talking to you, looking at you, just go in my pocket, give her the $10 without even looking at her, and just go so she can get her flowers.
Yeah.
Right? And I had told her beforehand, we're not getting flowers. We get flowers at the end. We'll get bigger flowers. She just, right there. She picked the right time to wear me down when I'm in the middle of a conversation, and sure enough, she got her flowers. So, yeah, we don't do that as adults.
But as an adult, if it was, let's say, your wife, I know you're not married, but if it was your wife, you'd be like, nah, baby, we don't need it. No, we're good. No, we're good. And she'd be all pissed off and you wouldn't get it. And she would accept the no.
Yeah.
But the kid doesn't accept the no.
Yeah. Accept the no. That's a great term. Like, we accept the no easy.
As an adult.
As an adult, we
But
easily
kids
accept
don't
no.
accept the no. So I told this dude that I was talking to this morning, that couldn't afford my training. And I said, bro, listen, you're going to get no's. You're going to get 20 no's in a row, but it's going to bring you to the yes. I said, if you were a kid and you were selling chocolate, how many people said no to you, but you sold the entire box, and when you were done, you wish you had another box? But now as an adult, you bring that box to your office, and you hope that everybody in your office buys the box. It's just going to be the unhealthy person that's going to buy the whole box, but no one else is going to buy the box because why? Their kids are selling chocolate, and their kids are selling chocolate, and they're all doing that. But when you're a kid, you're resilient. You know what you want, and you're going to get it no matter what. So there's a point in your life where this resilience stops, where you start believing what your peers are saying, what your parents are saying, and you're saying, okay, you know what, maybe like I'm not good enough for this. Maybe I'm not good enough for that. And this is what happens with relationships. This is why people are broken, because they start believing all these outside influences and they stop believing themselves.
Right. That's a great title for a book, by the way. Like, Don't Accept No. Like, Don't Accept No is a great title for a book where I always like the other one.
Let's co-author. We'll do it together.
Yeah, we'll do it together. And we should do the second. Our roundup would be if is the biggest word in the dictionary. Right? Because like you said earlier, if I had more money.
And can't
if I had
doesn't
more
exist.
Time. Right. Can't doesn't exist. All right. We got a couple of chapters rocking. I like it. Okay. So you're 15, 16 years old. You have this change in which your predisposition and programming of limiting beliefs.
So he introduced me to Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Right. And you just changed that. So now, for those who don't know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a very simple mentality. Yeah. Right? The rich dad believes in growth, taking chances, putting yourself out there, not having a limiting belief. It really breaks down to one has a limiting belief of save money and so forth. The other has an unlimited belief of you can have it all,
security,
just invest in security. Right. So you met him, you said, or
No, Dave introduced me to that.
Okay.
Right. I've met Robert Kiyosaki over the years, but Dave introduced me to that book.
All right, so now you're 16. Your limiting belief just became a myth. Yep. Now you have no limiting belief. Now as you get older, give me a moment in time when you're a young adult, where you're going through it all, and we all have these moments where something hits us like a brick wall.
2007, the economy crashed.
Yeah.
2006, probably made like 680,000. I was 23, 24. The next year I made nothing. Bankrupt at 24, 25 years old. What am I going to do now? You know, I thought that was it. I spent the last 8 years chasing this thing, chasing this business, chasing money because I wanted to be rich. And that's when I put rich and money together because I thought money was wealth.
Right.
So this was the time I hit a wall and I go, okay, wait. I just spent 9 years, 8 years of my life, however long it was, and I'm chasing this whole thing and it's gone overnight. But my 2 kids are still breathing. I still have a roof over my head. I may not have money, but I'll figure out.
All right, so how old are your kids in 2006?
One is like 3. The other one's like a year and a half.
All right, so you got 2 kids,
A lot
2
of shit
newborns,
happened.
right? You got a 3-year-old and basically an infant, a 1-year-old, right?
18-month-old.
Because I want to frame this because I think people forget about how easy it is, right? So you just made $700,000. You were making money the years before, so you're in the top percentage of wealth on an annual based income side, right? You're a 1%er in that scenario in America, and then all of a sudden you go from that to being bankrupt. How did that happen?
$50,000 a month in overhead. Phone's not ringing. Contracts aren't getting signed. And I was blowing my money. Dude, I was making this money every year. So I was blowing my money. I mean, I was a little bit of a degenerate gambler back then too, you know, like going to AC with 20 grand, didn't care, you know.
Because you thought it was always going to come.
Money was always there. It was always there. And then it's like, oh shit, I don't have any deposits. Because in construction, you live on your future. You know, you don't live on your present. And it was a dead end street. There was nothing there. We were in a foreclosure epidemic. You know, everyone was getting loans to refinance their house, and now all of a sudden no one's getting anything. I'm like, shit, dude. I mean, and people literally couldn't even qualify to get these loans, but we were doing jobs, getting the architect, getting the lender there. Oh, they need 500 grand, no problem. They need 700 grand, no problem. Now it's like, hey, you want 50 grand?
Right.
We need your kids' first tooth. We need, you know, your social security cards and all the gold in your house. Like, you can't even get money today.
Yeah.
Right. But back then it was just so easy to get money. And my kids now, I look at them and I say, okay, my real wealth is here. It's breathing. This is what I'm building it for. I had no purpose before. I was chasing a dollar. And one bit of advice I can give anybody is when you chase money, you will chase it forever and you will lose. Money will always win and you will always lose because it will always find a way to entrap you and make you spend it to chase more.
Yep.
So that you can feel like you're living at a place where you're happy, but you're truly not. So money has to become a secondary thing in our life. Now we have to chase what we really want, which is what we talked about before, right? Legacy, success, whatever that looks like in your life, your purpose and passion have to come together. And as long as you're serving for all those reasons, money will always follow. And that's where my transition in life happened.
All right, so I agree. So now it's almost 20 years ago, right? So 20 years ago, you're riding high, and all of a sudden you go bankrupt. How'd you turn that around? What was that moment like?
I didn't know what to do. My friend would call me up. You know, I always feel like opportunity, right? One door closes, another door opens. Always happens. My friend kept calling me up. He's like, hey, you want to get rich every time the phone rings? I'm like, what are you talking about? He called me like 6 times. He was a contractor too. I thought he was on drugs or he's drinking. Like, this dude's hallucinating. What is he saying right now, right? So I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? He's like, dude, just come to this meeting. You know, we can make money every time the phone rings. I'm like, if I come to this meeting, will you stop calling me? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. Because I was just like, bro, I couldn't even pay my cell phone bill, and you're calling me. Like, you're using up my minutes. Back then we had minutes, right?
Right. It was on unlimited plans. Yeah.
So I go to this meeting, and this guy's making like 40 G's a month selling phone service. You know, it was a network marketing deal, whatever.
Yeah, like some MLM stuff.
I love that shit. You know why? Because if people are making money, it means I can make it too.
Yeah.
You know, most people look at these opportunities and they go, it's a scam. I mean, listen, if someone's making money, that means you have an opportunity to make money. You just have to do what that someone's doing. And I knew that sitting in a room. So at the end of the meeting, I go, hey, listen, I don't really care about what you're selling. I don't care if it's lipstick. I don't care what it is. I'll go door to door. How do I make the money you're making? And I just literally followed the plan. Got involved in that business after 5 years, changed everything. Dude, I was introduced to personal development heavier than I ever was before. I was introduced to business owners heavier than I was before. Why? We were in a foreclosure epidemic. Our world was in a crisis. Every business owner was looking for an opportunity. I had the solution. So now I'm calling every business owner I know, hey, bro, listen, I can bridge the gap. We can bridge the gap. I got it. And I build this business. Millions of dollars later, get back into construction. Why? I don't know. But it was
easy to go back.
It was a fun ride. But that was my passion. Construction was my passion. I just had to wait for the right time. But that allowed me to now learn and understand people. You're talking like 10,000 people in 5 years in my business. And I was like a top leader in this company So I got to meet people.
What was the business?
It was a company called ACN.
Okay.
It's all, you know,
yeah, I know.
telecom company. So I was, bro, in my position, I was like in the top 5, you know, chasing this thing, bro. All of New Jersey's underneath me. You know, I got Pennsylvania now. I got New York. Like, this thing is crushing. And it was great until I seen behind the curtain. You know, I was like, I'm going to be working here for the rest of my life, Saturdays doing meetings and Sundays doing meetings and just chasing this dollar. And this isn't for me. We chased the reality of like you're signing people up to like make money, but the reality is most people aren't going to make it, right?
Yeah, no.
So MLM stands for most lose money.
I love that.
But what I tell people is some people win.
Yeah.
But in life, most lose money. Some people win. So I couldn't look at it any different. But why I left that company was because when I would do trainings on a Saturday morning and there'd be 150 people there, and I'd have like a single dad come up to me and be like, bro, listen, like I got divorced, I lost everything. Do you really think I'll make it? No. If your why ain't big enough, you ain't making it. If your why is big enough, you'll make it.
Did you actually say that to him? No?
I said no.
And what did he say back?
He's like, why? I said, because you just asked me to come, what you just asked me. I said, if you came up to me and said, listen, my kids matter the most to me. I don't care what I got to do. Tell me what I got to do. I'm going to do it. I would say yes. I said, you don't have a burning desire right now. You're just looking for something. You don't have any faith. You don't have any hope. You're just looking for the secret.
Right.
And there's no secret.
The lottery ticket. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a great way to look at it, where that same situation that he said to you, asking the question, right? This is interesting about how AI is. And I teach these kids, like, where AI is getting to, you need to ask the effective question. If I had to teach a course right now in AI, it's basically just teaching people how to ask a question. So when that man came up to you and asked you a question, you think, I'm going to make it, right? That immediately tells you or tells me, okay, here's his. I could literally profile that guy right now based off that question, like you did that day. And if he just changed the question, it changes the path completely, right? And effective questioning, to your point about beliefs in your head, that's where the question comes from. If you have the right beliefs in your head, you'll ask the right question. If you ask the right question, you go down the right path. And that path is to get to where you need to be or you want to be. But it's so fascinating how people don't understand that the question matters more than anything. Whether you question yourself, you question the machine, you ask question someone else, that question is the most important thing that'll come out of your mouth ever.
100%. And that's for everybody in life. And people don't realize that. You know, we self-sabotage ourselves by looking for a hit, looking for a win. But we don't win at nothing in life unless we truly desire to get that win. Like, there has to be something behind it. Like, an Olympian doesn't win the gold because they're good. They win it because they're great, but they fight for greatness on themselves. And they always want to beat themselves. They always want to be better. You know, how many people that are Olympians that are, you know, from other countries and they come here and they're running for the USA. Now, not only do they have an opportunity, but now they could be an Olympian in the best country in the world and win a gold medal when maybe they grew up and they were like living on the ground, sleeping on a cot.
Right.
Opportunity. But it's not the opportunity. It's the reward that they get to give back to their home, to their family, and what they're doing it for. Too many people do things for themselves. And when you do something for self, it's never going to fulfill anything. You have to do it for reason, for purpose. So if that guy came up to me, like when I went up to the guy who was making $40,000 a month, and I said, listen, bro, I don't care what you're doing. Just show me how. I need to make this work for my family.
Right.
Boom,
Desperation.
he knew it.
Yep.
You know, I was willing to do anything I had to do for my family. But if you tell me you just got divorced, am I going to make it? I mean, I'm lucky I got you here today.
Yeah.
And that's the way I'm thinking.
Right. So it's fascinating because I feel like there's so many people. You see the success, right? You see the peak of the success. I want the person to come to me and say, hey, listen, tell me how hard the journey was. I want to learn the journey. I want to learn the path, like you just said, so I can be at that same success point you're at. I don't care about this. I care about how you got there. Like, tell me the journey. Tell me how many hours you had to put in. Tell me the books you read. Tell me the things you watched. Let me see your screen time and let me see what you're working on. Like, That's when you know you have somebody that you can bet a business on. You can build around. For me, that's what I look for all the time.
Yeah, so a lot of people too, they ask for that stuff, but I always convert to say it's like, how hard can you get kicked in the nuts and get back up? Because that's where real success comes from. I mean, dude, I fell more than I've ever rised.
Yeah, we talking about like flat foot sneakers or heels, man, because that tip could really
I don't give
really
a
kill
shit,
someone.
because I've been hitting it from every foot.
Right.
And at the end of the day, most people are not prepared for failure. And failure is inevitable. Like, we're going to fail. And I tell people all the time, they go, "Oh, you're so lucky." I go, "Dude, if you've been through what I've been through, you wouldn't call this luck."
I tell people that, listen, I haven't failed because the game's not over, right? Or I used to say is like, listen, I'm not a failure, right? Because that's what I believe. The game's not over, right? When the game is over, all right, you can then tell me we failed or we lost or we did something. And people want to talk about the word failure to learn, like, words don't matter in the case of like, we can make the words nicer, not to hurt my feelings, but I'm very good at the mirror. Look at the mirror, be objective, tell the truth, right? So to your point, like, we didn't fail because the game's not over, right? But you get knocked down, and you're going to get knocked down. Anyone would tell you, you're going to get knocked down, right?
Can't get knocked out.
It's just a matter, right? Just a matter of getting back up, okay?
So our failures in life, however you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, you just have to look at them as ways that don't work.
Right.
You know, how many times did you try and tie your shoe and it didn't work? It kept coming undone, but then you finally figured it out. It's the same thing in life, and same thing in business, same thing in relationships, same thing as being a parent. I mean, how much did you suck being a parent when you first had a kid?
I still suck being a parent.
You had no idea what to do.
Right.
I remember the first time my kid shit and it was like dark brown tar coming out of his ass. I freaked out. What the hell's going on here? They go, "That's normal." I go, "That's not normal."
Yeah.
You know, but like, you have to adapt, and you have no idea.
It's true.
And like, oh, now you're getting interrupted in the middle of the night, and now you got to wake up and do something that you never did before, but you're willing to do it. Why? Because that's your child.
Yep.
And if you treat everything in life like you treated your child once, you'll get such a great reward from that.
And I think that's what matters the most. It's the reward you get that you don't expect, as opposed to what you said earlier, like, hey, I work and I get paid. I work and I get paid. That's not a reward.
Right.
Right? That's not a reward where you're like, all right, I got paid on Friday for the work you did. No. The reward is like, hey, I got up in the middle of the night, I held my child, or I did these things. I didn't expect to get an award because it was my job, but the smile he had, or the time he laughed that he wasn't supposed to laugh, or to your point about like the shit in the diaper. Like, no, doc, this is not normal. Yeah, it is. It's normal, right? Or you have your first child, he can't touch anything. When you get to the third one, it's like, how long was that on the floor? A minute and a half. That floor was clean yesterday. You could eat that. It's fine. You'll be okay inside the stomach. It'll digest itself. So it's learning those things always, to me, that we don't take the time to think about, and I think that's what's important. So I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you what's your favorite quote?
To have things that others don't have, you must be willing to do things that others won't do. I always stick by that.
To have things, say it one more time.
To have things that others don't have, you have to be willing to do things that others won't do.
I love that because it reminds me of when you see all the sheep running this way. Okay, you can run with the crowd because you think something's going on or you think it's safer, or you can stop and watch them and wait, or just immediately turn the other way and run that way. Run the opposite way they're running, because you know you believe in yourself enough that you can have whatever it is you want, because you're betting on yourself that, hey, listen, I don't know why they're running, but I'm going to run towards it. And whatever's that way, I'm going to win. I don't care if it's a big animal coming at me, I'm going to win. But there's something over there that I can win at because the others are not doing it.
One time I sat in traffic, and I'm sitting in traffic. I'm like, I don't even know how I got here. And I'm looking at the other side going the other way. There's no traffic. And I sat in my car. I was probably 18 years old, 19 years old. I said, I now need to figure out how to be on that side. When everyone's going this way, I need to go that way. When everyone's going that way, I need to go this way. And that's exactly what I did. I figured out how to leave, how to find the fastest path. And the good thing about life today is, like, we have a GPS system built into us, like as you become more successful, just like your car does. If you get off track, she comes on and says, "You've missed your turn, redirecting." Same thing happens in business. Same thing happens in life. As long as you have the right people in your life, the right mentors in your life, the right association, you're going to stay on track. But it only takes 2 or 3 people to be on that road with you to keep you on track. When the masses follow traffic and there's a detour and everyone's got to get off, or there's an accident and everyone got to wait, that's what everyone's got to do. How do you get off the road with everyone and get on the road with the right few people?
Right.
And those people are your GPS, and you're their GPS, and you remap each other and you help each other. You know, on the way up here, I was thinking about like a 3-hour ride up here today, so I had a lot of time to think. I don't even think I had the radio on today at all. In a couple weeks, I have a dinner at 5 o'clock in the city, and I have to pay $500 to be at this dinner with players. It goes to charity. Monday Night Football. What would the average person think? Oh my God, I can't miss Monday Night Football, right? Mm-hmm. Then Tuesday, I have to be in Staten Island at 7 p.m. to be on a podcast. And then Wednesday, I have to be on 2 podcasts. And then Thursday, I have to be on another podcast. And then Friday, I'm doing an all-day event in Philly. So I'm like, this side of the country, that side of the country, I'm all over the place. And I was just thinking, like, I don't know how I got here based on how God got me here, but he put me here. But I know how I got here based on what I did because I didn't listen to all the other people. And the opportunities today that I have to be able to spend time in hours with people that other people wouldn't spend. Like, what is it, 11 o'clock in the morning right now? You know what I mean? Like, on a Friday. You're going to Connecticut on a Friday? Yeah, why? Because I can do whatever I want whenever I want. I don't treat Friday as it's a weekend.
Right.
My weekend's every day. I get to do what I want when I want. You know, yes, are there people who want me to be on our podcast on a Saturday? Yeah, I probably won't go. Why? Because I spend time with my kids on Saturday and do what I got to do. But a Friday afternoon, dude, it's like a Monday morning to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean nothing. So you build your life by design, and you start seeing things in your life start to play out. Now it's our job to say, I'm not going to miss Monday Night Football to go to a dinner with ballers, bro. People who are on a different level than most everyone in this world. What would that room do for me, or what would that game do for me? People don't think that way. Especially if you're New York Giants or whatever team you like are playing on that Monday. Like, you can't miss it. Right? So people will make time for things that will never make time for them. If you really listen to that, versus make time for people that will always make time for them. So when you start hanging out with successful people, you start hanging out with entrepreneurs, and you make time for them, they will always make time for you. But you start following people on social media, you start watching sports, you wearing someone's name on your back, that's embarrassing. You wear someone's name on your back. Why don't you wear your own name? I'm wearing my own name.
Right.
I own jerseys. They hang up, they're signed because I met the people. I'm not wearing it on my back because I'm not wearing anyone else's name on my back. My name's tattooed on my back. It's my name, you know? But people spend so much time in this fantasy world, watching TV, following celebrities, doing all this stuff, when those people will never give them time. How do you execute and get in a place where you can have people who will actually give you time that'll be valuable because you're putting your time, your attention in the right places, but most of the world will never get there.
Dude, I think something you just said right now is what everybody should understand that just blows their mind. Time is the resource, right? Mm-hmm. Time is the wealth. Time is the end all be all of what you should be focusing on. Because when you give your time, as opposed to just giving your money, so you're not just paying $500 for a dinner for a charity. You can give a $500 check, no problem, even easier, and have that time to do something else. But you're giving your time, right, to do that. That's the real value. That's what other people who are at that level, like we are, we appreciate that. Like, listen, I'm grateful you're going to give a $500 check to the charity that I'm putting together, but I'm more grateful that you're actually going to take time, because I know how valuable that is, to actually be at this event. The $500 is whatever. Your time is much more valuable than $500. And that's to what you just said. When you give someone time, when someone asks you to help them move, and instead of buying the moving truck, you actually show up. Mm-hmm. When you give time, that's appreciated in a way that nobody understands until you get to a level where you understand that you can control the time.
So a good example is how many people have you done something for, but now when it was time for you, they didn't show up. That's when you know you're spending time, giving time to the wrong people, and you got to level up. Dude, I can call some of the most successful people I know, and if I need something today, it'll get done. They may not do it, but they'll send someone. Right? But if I call someone who I helped move 5 years ago and be like, hey, I'm moving on Sunday, can you help me? Oh, my kid's got a baseball game. I can't miss it. You know, like he's the pitcher. You know, but well, what about when I helped you?
Right.
You know, I missed my kid's football game to help you.
Yep.
Right. That just is what happens. There's no like law of reciprocation for the norm, only for the people who are willing to step outside the box and be different. And this is where the successful people really come together and do things.
I think the falsehood is that people think it takes a lot of time. Every morning I text a different person, right? Someone pops in my head, I text them, just see how they're doing. No like, hey, can you help me? No whatever. Just, hey, you popped in my head this morning. I want to check in, make sure you're right. What can I do for you today to make your day better? Right? And this is not, it doesn't have to be a business person, doesn't have to be a friend. It's just random person. Every day, what can I do for you today to make your day better? And a lot of times I get, you just did. Okay, great. But if you ask me to do something, sometimes I take it as a cop-out. Okay, but if you had to ask me to do something today to make your day better, other than me just texting you, what can I do? And that giving is how you actually get in life. And I don't do it for anything other than I'm grateful that person's in my phone. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful that I can actually reach out and touch them whenever I want to. And that gratitude is all I use to start my day every day.
I had a text I got this morning, like when I left. Hey, bro, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Haven't talked to you in a few months. You know what his reply back was? How can I pray for you today?
Love that. Love that.
But this is the people that are in our zone.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the things that they say versus like, oh, I need $100.
Yeah, right. All right, so listen, man, people who want to be in your zone, how do they find you?
My biggest platform is Instagram, Big Dan Official on Instagram. You can check out my website, dansachkowsky.com or bigdcoaching.com. And not sure when this airs, but on November 6th, I'm doing a big event in Jersey. It's probably about an hour and a half away from here, 2 hours maybe at most, but be some impactful people in the room. It's a Thursday night. I know there's Thursday night football, but I can almost guarantee if you come to this event, you show up to this event, and you tell me at the end of this event that there was no value in it, you didn't get no value in it, I'll personally write you a check for every $1 you spent coming to this event. Because
how can they book the event?
Just go on my website or on my Instagram. It's all over my Instagram, and the links are in there. Or shoot me a DM, and I'll shoot them a link with a discount code, whatever you want.
All right, so we'll make sure we get that out as soon as possible across whatever we can to help that event. Listen, man, I want to thank you for coming. I think it's I value your time.
And I don't wear a hat because you're bald. So I said, we're two bald guys. I always wear a hat.
Yeah. Listen, you know the bald saying, right? So God gives hair to everyone. He only takes it away from the special ones.
All right.
So that's my bald statement.
Thank you,
my
Lord.
bald quote. Yeah, exactly. Right. Everyone, thank you for coming and listening. Dan is an amazing guest. We'll have all his information on our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. And remember, just share as many moments as you can with others because you never know who you're going to touch. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.